hydrogen peroxide.
Now, Douglas, you're explaining to me something so unique and remarkable about plasma and your research. Can you at least tell everybody and not just me?
I was just giving you some details of what I've found, and it seems as if what happens out in our magnetic field of the Earth and also in our atmosphere happens in our blood. For instance, the plasma of the blood. There's different types of plasma, the blood, and that's 55% of your blood is this substance, plasma, blood plasma, and it's mostly water, but it carries a bunch of really cool things, some fats and proteins, but it also carries in it certain types of plasma cells called long-lived plasma cells. Now, long-lived memory plasma cells remember everything that ever happened to you in your body. So if you were poisoned when you were 2, there's still blood circulating that remembers that pathogen that came into your body and how your body responded to it. And so they're the old cells that have in them the capacity to send out other white blood cells, which carry in them killer hydrogen peroxide that can kill just about anything. You even have to be careful with it. And when they do that, when they use hydrogen peroxide, they create ozone. And ozone, as we know, is the thing that all the surgical instruments in a hospital are cleaned with. That if you take ozone and you use it to irradiate human blood, it gets rid of just about every disease and supposed virus and bacteria known to mankind. They take it out of your body, run it through an ozone machine, put it back, and people who tested positive for HIV come out that they have none of that in their blood. You can take the most poisonous water, hit it with ozone, and then drink it. Okay, so ozone has, as a matter of fact, I know people, I won't mention any names, who have an ozone machine, and they're smart enough to know you have to wrap them. If you're ozonating water, you need to wrap it so the ozone doesn't escape, because ozone can give you a headache. It can make you feel sick to your stomach because it's so friggin' intense. It's not good in your body. So the only time it shows up is when it shoots out these white blood cells, which I'm kind of imagining are kind of like comets. Rudolf Steiner says comets in our solar system come in from we believe, we actually believe this, it's really ridiculous, that the whole extent of the magnetic field of the sun is called the heliopause. And as one of our great helpers on the team pointed out, it's in the shape of a lentil. So, yes, the Earth is following behind the sun, and the other planets are all following behind the sun, and we create this kind of cometary tail. And on the outside of that is the Oort circle, and supposedly that's where comets come from. And they come through the heliopause, which is 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and that they're made of ice, these comets. And they come in and they clean out our solar system. And so Steiner says they're a really great thing, but they're kind of outside of our solar system, right? Because they're outside of human earthly perspective. Well, we now know that's basically true about plasmas, especially, plasmoids that are supposed to be happening up in the exosphere and only dive down when sprites appear above fantastic thunderstorms to basically bring balance to the electromagnetic fields of the Earth, and also perhaps to seed our atmosphere. And that's something that scientists now really believe is their hot topic for how we came into existence, is through the seeding of the Earth from plasmoids. So anyway, in your blood, not only that, but remember this, your red blood corpuscles that carry iron and the magic substance to be able to turn to use oxygen, O2, that we get from the air we breathe, and then get rid of the CO2, the carbon dioxide that we breathe out, which is basically the poisons of the body that can be extricated through oxidation. So you have the blood plasma, which is a substance that can't even be explained, because one could literally say that in a biological condition, some of this blood plasma is eternal. It's like epithelial stem cells, or the stem cells that are in bone marrow. They appear to be eternal, and they have capacities from birth to adjust to any pathogen that ever came in, so that it kind of, I would say, is kind of like the directive function of your immunosystem. And basically, the way that your blood always stays pure and clean and free of pathogens. So it has these three parts, and I've been looking for this for a long time in Steiner, and I never could find where he said, exactly how the concept of salt, mercury, and sulfur can be found in the human blood. So when perception comes in, it gets imprinted on the human blood. So we've been finding out a lot of secrets about the plasma of the blood and the way it works through the heart. But this is a revelation that, of course, scientists say, and I love it, the things that I'm most interested in, when you get to the end of the sentence, it says that scientists really don't understand what they're looking at. And that's good. At least they admit that. So in this case, they can't explain certain things like enzymes, that they can do 1 trillion reactions in 1 second. Through their explanation is impossible, the scientist's explanation. But how can that happen? How can you have epithelial cells or stem cells or embryonic stem cells? So what I'm looking for is what Steiner called plasma germ cells. And I think I've found them. And they're in a variety of places in the body. But in the blood, it seems quite evident that when you look at the real effects of the threefold nature of the human blood, it's utterly miraculous, and there's something going on that's invisible that is really the driving force or energy of it. And can you believe the consciousness of a blood plasma cell, a blood, what they call live-long memory plasma cell that has been with you since birth in your blood, roaming around looking for troublemaker pathogens? This is shocking.
Well, not to mention that any woman who has conceived of a child, whether that child is born alive or not, has the cells of that child within her for her entire life.
Yes, and that's what I think Steiner's talking about, is what we call DNA is really much more of an intelligence body that is in communication with every cell, every nucleated cell in the body. And remember that red blood cells don't have a nucleus, but blood plasma does, and so do white blood cells. White blood cells are so chock full of good stuff to kill bad stuff that it's actually unimaginable. And of course, scientists will just keep finding more of this stuff. And when you see it, you go, wait. I've seen this before. I've seen this in comets. I've seen this in solar magnetic ropes, or flux ropes, or cables, or I've seen this in what are called spheromaxes in plasma, and blah, blah, blah. And oh, by golly, it looks as if this may be a way that the etheric formative forces, the 7 ethers, actually manifest in the human body. And you can find all about that in our book called The Eternal Ethers, A Theory of Everything. You brought it to my attention that someone asked about this 100-page book I made reference to. It's now 130 pages. And we're not done because I keep adding so much stuff to it, and I keep finding new support of...
All right, let me be real specific. In the last video, Douglas mentioned this 100-page book. Someone in the comment book said, hey, what is this? Where is this book? The answer is it hasn't been written yet. It's what Douglas is working on right now. And one thing I've noticed with people who get involved in research in plasma, I've just kind of noticed this anecdotally on the internet, and I also noticed Douglas over here working on the book. They actually become so engrossed in plasma, you cannot get them to do anything. But thanks for taking out the garbage and bringing it in today, honey.
Yeah, and it was cold and rainy out there and foggy. It was just really amazing. I like it. So here we go. This is the opening paragraph, so we can't give you the whole book. But basically, We are showing Steiner's research, connecting it to modern research, and you can tell by the heading here where I was going with this particular section. Actually, the book is called Plasma, the Fabric of the Cosmos and the Tree of Life. It's got a subheading, Plasma, Chariots of Fire. And this, after going into radiant matter and energy and describing it, I say under the heading, The Weaponization of Universal Plasma. In this article, we intend to answer the following questions and supply research and evidence to support our presentation. Much confusion whirls around the science, mythology, and religion of plasma, and it behooves us to study the seeming source of life, which some call the incubator of our planet, solar system, galaxy, and universe. Wherever you look in your studies, you will find the ubiquitous etheric substance of plasma, or something named plasma that might seem to be wildly different than the magic substance that has created almost everything in the universe that is outside of our warm and cozy Earth atmosphere. Plasma is like a mother who protects us from the deadly rays of the sun, the solar system's source of our plasma. Plasma can pass through physical matter, like magic, without losing its coherence. It moves as fast as light and yet can be invisible. Stretch millions of miles with spiraling helixes of electricity and magnetism and filaments and ion jets. Incubate solar wind and dust particles into Earth's air, water, and minerals. Create layers of ozone and plasma around the Earth that protect us from harmful solar and cosmic radiation. Move through the Earth's atmosphere in glowing plasmoids that defy all scientific laws governing matter and even be confused with UFOs, angels, gods, and aliens. Plasma is a most inexplicable force, entity, ether, and phenomena that confounds the human mind and is becoming the fastest growing technical aid in all branches of medicine, fusion energy, and astrophysics. Thus, we have more questions at the end of our day of study on plasma than when we began. Suffice it to say, plasma is a mystery that longs to be solved. As the Egyptian goddess Isis was known to say, I am Isis. I am the past, the present, and the future. No one has lifted my veil and lived.